Dr. Jessica Brooks took another sip of her gas station coffee, grimacing at both its temperature and quality. The NASA Special Technologies Lab hadn't upgraded their coffee maker since 1983, and she was pretty sure that was actually an improvement over their current situation. But right now, even bad coffee was better than no coffee at all, especially when you were about to make first contact by shooting down the galaxy's most advanced spaceship with the equivalent of a souped-up TV antenna. Target entering optimal intercept zone in 5 minutes, announced Lieutenant Ryan Cooper, his fingers dancing across what looked suspiciously like an ancient Commodore 64 keyboard. The green text scrolled across the curved glass monitor, displaying tracking data that would have made any Imperial engineer have an aneurysm trying to understand how their perfect cloaking technology was being bypassed by technology that predated color television. Status on the weather satellites, Jessica asked, setting down her coffee and pulling her dark hair back into a tight ponytail. Game time. All 23 are aligned and ready, Sarah Martinez replied from her station. The former video game programmer had been crucial in repurposing defunct Soviet weather satellites into what was now Earth's first line of defense against alien incursion. Though I still think we should have gone with 24. It would have made a perfect grid. 23 creates a deliberate imperfection in the pattern, Jessica reminded her. They'll assume it's a gap in our coverage and try to slip through there. Speaking of which, she gestured to the main screen where a slight distortion was becoming visible against the starfield. Right on schedule. The Empire's latest cultural assessment vessel, designated the Silent Observer, was anything but silent to Earth's carefully crafted detection grid. Their quantum stealth field might have been perfect against modern sensors, but it created a distinctive interference pattern with analog TV frequencies, something humanity had discovered decades ago and very carefully kept quiet about. "They're taking the bait," Ryan announced, his voice tight with anticipation. Approaching the Nevada corridor exactly as predicted. Jessica allowed herself a small smile. The Empire's psychological profile of humanity was so riddled with assumptions and prejudices that they'd become painfully predictable. Of course they'd choose to approach through Nevada. They'd probably thought all those old UFO conspiracies would provide perfect cover for any accidental sightings. "Initiate protocol, rabbit ears," Jessica commanded, earning a few chuckles from her team. The name had been her idea. A reminder that sometimes the old ways were the best ways. Around the globe, 23 modified weather satellites simultaneously adjusted their positions. Each one was broadcasting a precisely calibrated mixture of UAF, VHF, and several other supposedly obsolete frequency bands. Individually, they were harmless. Together, they created a resonance effect that played havoc with quantum field generators. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The Silent Observer's stealth field collapsed in a cascade of rainbow-colored distortions. The ship itself, a sleek silver arrow designed to inspire awe in primitive species, began tumbling through the atmosphere as its quantum navigation systems went haywire. Emergency thrusters fired randomly, turning what should have been a graceful descent into something resembling a drunken swan dive. "Direct hit," Ryan confirmed, his professional tone barely concealing his excitement. "Their primary and backup quantum systems are completely scrambled. They're switching to manual control." "Right where we want them," Jessica nodded, reaching for her coffee again. "Alert the welcome team. Tell them our guests will be arriving at the designated coordinates in approximately 12 minutes, probably upside down, and extremely confused." She paused, considering the diplomatic implications of what they'd just done, then added, "And somebody get the good coffee maker from my office. I have a feeling we're going to need it for the upcoming conversation." As her team scrambled to prepare for their unexpected visitors, Jessica gazed at the main screen where the Empire's most advanced ship was now leaving a corkscrew contrail across the Nevada sky. Sometimes the best way to make a point was to let your opponents think they'd outsmarted themselves. Besides, she thought with a slight smirk, Watching an Imperial ship get taken down by technology they'd dismissed as primitive was worth suffering through bad coffee any day. First contact specialist, Cathor straightened his ceremonial robe for the third time, trying to maintain his dignity despite having landed upside down in the Nevada desert. The landing crater behind him still smoked slightly, and he could hear his crew attempting to restart their quantum systems with increasingly creative curses. "Welcome to Earth," Dr. Jessica Brooks said, approaching with 2 steaming cups. "Coffee." Thor stared at her with all 3 of his eyes. This wasn't how first contact was supposed to go. These primitives should be cowering, astonished by their advanced technology. Instead, this human was offering him a beverage as if she'd been expecting him for afternoon tea. "I don't understand," he admitted, accepting the cup mostly out of shock. "Our stealth systems are perfect. Our quantum field generators air, susceptible to interference from UAF frequencies when properly modulated," Jessica finished, taking a sip from her own cup. "Sugar's on the table if you need it. Most visitors find our coffee a bit strong." Thor followed her gesture to a folding table that had somehow appeared next to the crash site, complete with an assortment of donuts. Lieutenant Cooper was already there, typing on what appeared to be ancient Earth technology, while munching on a glazed specimen. "That's impossible," Cathor sputtered. "You're using obsolete technology. Your species hasn't even achieved unified quantum theory." "Oh, that," Jessica waved dismissively. "We figured that out back in '87. Kept it quiet, though. Found it more useful to let everyone think we were still arguing about string theory." She gestured toward a nearby hangar. "Would you like a tour? Your crew is welcome to, once they're done trying to reboot your systems with that outdated quantum compiler." The inside of the hangar dropped all pretense of primitive technology. Holographic displays showed real-time tracking of every Imperial vessel within 50 light-years. A massive wall display, which Cathor had initially mistaken for abstract art, was actually a complex strategic analysis of Empire fleet movements. That's classified information," he managed to say. "Was classified," Sarah Martins corrected, not looking up from what appeared to be a game of Pong. Except, Cathor realized with growing horror, she was actually using the simple game interface to predict and plot Imperial patrol routes. "We found your quantum encryption had a lovely harmonic resonance with old AM radio frequencies," Jessica explained, leading him past a row of ancient television sets that were somehow decoding Imperial secure transmissions. "Did you know you can pick up your entire command channel on HBO if you adjust the rabbit ears just right?" Thor's third eye twitched, but our surveillance showed exactly what we wanted it to show. Jessica smiled. "You know that primitive satellite we launched last month? The one your analysts dismissed as barely functional. It's currently using modified Atari processing architecture to run your entire sector's quantum network security." But that's just a weather satellite," Cathor protested weakly. "Multitasking," Ryan called out from his station. "It does actually predict the weather too, more accurately than your quantum systems, I might add. Yesterday it forecasted this exact crash, down to the minute." Jessica led Cathor to her office, which looked like a museum of obsolete Earth technology. Her desk was covered in what appeared to be dismantled cell phones, old radio parts, and at least 3 different generations of game consoles. "Here's the thing," she said, settling into her chair. "Humanity never abandoned our old technology. We just kept building on it, finding new ways to use it. While everyone else was rushing to quantum everything, we were discovering that sometimes the old ways work better. Or, in your case," she gestured to a small box on her desk that was apparently blocking all of Cathor's quantum communications. "They work better specifically because everyone else forgot about them." Cathor stared at the device. Is that a toaster?" "Modified toaster," Jessica corrected. "Still makes pretty good bagels too." She leaned forward, her expression becoming serious. "Now, should we discuss why the Empire has been violating our airspace for the past 30 years, or would you like another coffee first?" Thor sat down heavily, his ceremonial robes wrinkled beyond repair. Somehow, he had a feeling this wasn't going to be the type of first contact report the Empire was expecting. Colonel Mike Thompson stood in his kitchen, adjusting his Kiss the Cook apron, while the Empire's most classified battle protocols scrolled across his microwave's digital display. The cooking show cameras were rolling, and timing was everything, both for the perfect rack of ribs and for revealing to the galaxy just how thoroughly humanity had infiltrated Imperial systems. Today on Cooking with the Colonel, he announced cheerfully to the camera, "We're going to learn how to make my award-winning barbecue ribs. But first, let's talk about the Empire's quantum-shifted battle formations, which remind me a lot of the zone defense in football." In the NASA control room, Jessica watched the broadcast with barely contained amusement as their intelligence officer, Marcus Chen, coordinated the signal hijack. "Are we in their networks?" "Better," Marcus grinned. "We're being simulcast across every Imperial entertainment channel. Even their Emperor's private quantum-secured feed is picking this up. They can't shut it off without admitting they've been hacked by what they think is a cooking show." On screen, Mike was enthusiastically comparing Imperial fleet movements to his favorite football plays while basting ribs. "Now see, folks, when you want to create the perfect crossfire pattern, just like the Empire's infamous pincer formation, you need to maintain proper spacing. It's just like arranging your ribs on the grill. Too close together, and nothing cooks right." The Empire's response was immediate. Emergency quantum communications erupted across their networks, all of which were being casually decoded by a cluster of repurposed Game Boys in the corner of the NASA lab. "Sir," Ryan called out, struggling to keep a straight face, "the Empire is threatening military action unless we cease transmission immediately." "Oh, that reminds me," Mike continued on screen, now drawing Imperial attack patterns in barbecue sauce. "When preparing for unexpected guests, whether they're hungry neighbors or an Imperial battle fleet, preparation is key. Speaking of which, let's check on our secret sauce." Jessica picked up her secure line as it rang. Thor's panicked voice came through. "Dr. Brooks, you don't understand. The Imperial command is furious. They're mobilizing the fleet. How's the feed looking in the Centauri sector?" Jessica asked instead of responding to his warning. "Rating through the roof," Sarah reported, monitoring the Galactic social media feeds they tapped into. "We're trending on their version of Twitter. #EarthCooks is the top hashtag across 3 spiral arms." On screen, Mike was now explaining the Empire's classified shield frequency modulations while demonstrating proper meat thermometer technique. "You see, just like checking if your ribs are done, you've got to hit these shields at just the right spot. Too high, nothing gets through. Too low, you've wasted your energy. But right here in the sweet spot." He poked the ribs with his thermometer, producing a perfect sizzle. The Imperial networks exploded with new orders, all of which appeared instantly on Sarah's station, decoded by what appeared to be a Tamagotchi pet. "They're ordering an immediate information blackout," Ryan reported, then paused. "Also, several high-ranking Imperial officers are requesting the rib recipe." Jessica smiled, picking up her phone. "Time for Phase 2. Put me through to the Colonel." Mike answered seamlessly, never breaking his on-camera persona. "And now, folks, we have a special call-in guest. Dr. Brooks, what's cooking?" "Just wanted to remind you to share that special technique for detecting cloaked ships," Jessica said sweetly. "You know, the one that uses modified FM radio waves." "Oh, perfect timing." Mike beamed. "Let me just pull out my old boombox here. You see, folks, back in the 80s, we discovered something interesting about Imperial cloaking technology. In the Imperial Palace, the Emperor himself watched in horror as Earth's most-watched cooking show host explained complex military countermeasures between basting intervals. The worst part wasn't that their secrets were being revealed. It was that the ribs actually looked delicious. "Should we deploy the fleet?" his admiral asked nervously. The Emperor slumped in his quantum-forged throne. "What's the point? They're probably watching us plan it right now on their primitive devices. He paused, then added reluctantly, "Besides, I want to see how those ribs turn out." Back in the NASA lab, Jessica raised her coffee mug to the monitor showing panic spreading across Imperial space. Sometimes, the best way to deliver a message was with a side of barbecue sauce. "Dad, can I borrow your quantum phase Imperial probe for my TikTok?" Jessica nearly spat out her coffee as she watched the teenage girl's video go viral across both Earth and Imperial social networks. The girl was using one of the Empire's most advanced stealth drones as a floating selfie stick, complete with holographic filters apparently hacked from the probe's own sensor suite. Their new stealth network lasted exactly 6 hours, Ryan reported, trying to maintain his professional demeanor. Turns out their quantum signatures interact badly with Pokemon Go's augmented reality systems. How many probes have been compromised? Jessica asked, watching as another video popped up, this one showing teenagers playing an impromptu game of zero-gravity tag with billion-credit Imperial surveillance equipment. "All of them," Sarah answered, her fingers flying across her vintage mechanical keyboard. "The kids are calling them Space Snapchat. There's already a subreddit dedicated to the best probe selfies." The emergency transmission from Cathor came right on schedule. His third eye was twitching so rapidly it looked like it might pop off his face. "Dr. Brooks, this is outrageous. Those are classified military assets." "Really?" Jessica examined her phone screen. "Because according to the App Store, they're now the hottest new social media accessory. 5 stars, by the way. The kids especially love the quantum hologram filters." "You can't just..." Cathor's protest was cut short as his secure quantum channel was interrupted by what appeared to be a cat video. A very classified cat video, transmitted through his own probe network. In the NASA lab, Marcus was coordinating the global response through what looked like an ancient AOL chat room. "Every cell tower on Earth is now part of our sensor array," he reported. "We're using social media traffic to boost the signal. Each cat meme shared adds processing power to our detection grid." "The Empire's spy chief just resigned," Sarah announced, monitoring the Imperial news feeds. Apparently his quantum-sealed personal diary started trending on Twitter. The entry about his secret passion for Earth's boy bands was particularly popular. On the main screen, a map showed thousands of Imperial probes being repurposed in real time. A group of college students had turned one into a floating DJ booth for a beach party. A grandmother in Florida was using another to monitor her garden and share quantum-encrypted recipes. A kid in Japan had somehow taught one to play Pokemon battles with other probes. "Dr. Brooks." Thor's voice was reaching new heights of panic. "Our entire intelligence network is being monetized." Jessica suggested helpfully. "I hear probe selfies are selling as NFTs now. Your spy chief's diary entries too. The Empire will not stand for this humiliation." Thor declared, though the effect was somewhat undermined by the cat video still playing in the background of his transmission. "We demand..." "Oh, hold that thought," Jessica interrupted, checking her phone. "My niece just posted a great video. She taught one of your probes to do the Macarena. Want to see?" The Imperial response came in the form of a massive deployment order, instantly decoded by what appeared to be a Furby sitting on Ryan's desk. "They're sending in their automated combat drones," he reported. "State-of-the-art quantum AI systems." Jessica nodded to Marcus. "Deploy the Windows 95 defense grid." Across Earth's atmosphere, Imperial combat drones suddenly found their quantum AI systems being overwritten by ancient Earth code. Their tactical displays were replaced by bouncing screensaver, and their weapon systems were reorganized by Clippy the office assistant. "Would you like help with staging a planetary invasion?" The cheerful paperclip asked across thousands of Imperial displays. In orbit, the most advanced automated warfare system ever created was reduced to playing Minesweeper and displaying blue screen of death errors in perfect formation. "You know," Jessica mused, watching the Imperial command structure melt down in real time, "maybe we should have warned them about our backup defensive systems." You mean TikTok and Windows 95? Sarah asked with a grin. No, Jessica smiled, holding up her phone to show a new viral video of Imperial probes performing a synchronized dance routine. I meant the teenagers. In his palace, the Emperor watched in horror as Earth's social media networks systematically dismantled his intelligence apparatus, one viral video at a time. Perhaps, he thought as another probe joined the dance routine, it was time to reconsider their definition of primitive technology. They've launched their Omega-class battleships, Ryan announced, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. 17 quantum dreadnoughts, each carrying enough firepower to crash spectacularly when their AI hits our legacy code. Jessica finished, watching as the massive Imperial fleet approached Earth's orbit. How long until they're in range of the Windows 95 defense grid? 3 minutes, Sarah replied, her fingers dancing across what appeared to be an original Nintendo Power Glove, now rewired to control Earth's orbital defense network. Though I still think Windows Me would have been more devastating. We're not monsters, Sarah. The Imperial fleet was a sight to behold. Kilometers-long ships of crystalline quantum-forged alloys, their hulls gleaming with energy patterns that defied conventional physics. They were the pride of the Empire, absolutely undefeatable by any known military force. Unfortunately for them, they were about to face something far worse: outdated software updates. Integration protocols ready. Marcus called out from his station, where he was typing commands into what looked suspiciously like a speak-and-spell toy. Deploying Office Assistant Armada. Across the vast Imperial fleet, thousands of quantum AI systems suddenly encountered something their designers had never prepared them for: Clippy and his friends. The helpful paperclip appeared simultaneously on every bridge display, accompanied by his lesser-known colleagues like Rocky the Microsoft Office logo and Lynx the cat. It looks like you're trying to invade Earth, Clippy announced cheerfully across the entire fleet. Would you like help with that? Before any Imperial commander could respond, their ship's quantum processors began receiving automatic updates. Decades of abandoned Earth software began installing itself across their networks. Toolbars appeared. Pop-up ads for hot singles in their sector multiplied. Browser helpers offered to optimize their quantum drives. Status report, Jessica demanded, watching as the mighty Imperial fleet began to drift in increasingly erratic patterns. The flagship is currently stuck in an infinite update loop, Ryan reported, struggling to keep a straight face. Their admiral is apparently trying to click no to Internet Explorer becoming their default browser, but the pop-up keeps moving. 3 destroyer groups are being forced to watch the Space Jam website load, Sarah added. Their quantum processors can't handle the 90s HTML. On the main screen, they watched as Earth's ultimate defense system continued its work. The most advanced ships in the galaxy were being systematically crippled by technology, so old it had achieved vintage status. Dr. Brooks. Thor's transmission cut in, his voice reaching new heights of panic. What have you done? Our ships. There. Installing Real Player. Jessica supplied helpfully. Also, I think your flagship just joined MySpace automatically. You might want to customize your profile before Tom friends you. But this is impossible. Thor sputtered. These programs are ancient, primitive. Our quantum systems are perfect. Exactly, Jessica nodded. They're so perfect, so advanced, they never developed immunity to programs that were buggy to begin with. Your quantum AI is currently trying to figure out why it needs to download Adobe Flash Player to fire its main weapons. Across the fleet, ship after ship fell victim to Earth's digital archaeological assault. Quantum drives were reduced to running Netscape Navigator. Weapons systems were replaced with Space Cadet pinball. One particularly unfortunate cruiser had its entire bridge crew trapped in a Minesweeper tournament. Should we deploy the AOL free trial disks? Marcus asked, his hand hovering over what appeared to be a rebuilt Commodore 64. Jessica considered the Imperial fleet, now arranged in a pattern that suspiciously resembled the Windows 98 logo. No need. I think they're about to. Fuel or ETOREAT. The order blasted across all frequencies as the Imperial Admiral finally gave up trying to decline the Ask Jeeves toolbar. The mighty ships began turning, their quantum drives struggling to calculate escape vectors while dealing with Bonzi Buddy's helpful suggestions. As the fleet fled in disarray, Jessica turned to her team. "Well, that takes care of the military option. Anyone up for lunch?" "Just a sec," Sarah called out, still wearing the power glove. "I'm teaching their flagship's AI to play duck hunt. I think it's actually enjoying it." Somewhere in the retreating fleet, an Imperial quantum computer discovered the joy of simple 8-bit graphics and wondered if maybe, just maybe, newer wasn't always better. Commander Sarah Martinez stood at the entrance of what had once been the Empire's most sophisticated listening post on Earth, now repurposed as Area 51.5. The galaxy's most honest tourist trap. She adjusted her name tag, which read Tour Guide. "I want to believe in good customer service. Welcome to our 2:30 tour," she announced to the gathered crowd of tourists, many already snapping pictures of the quantum sensor array that had been converted into the world's most advanced mini-golf course. Today, you'll discover how the Empire spent trillions of credits to spy on Earth, only to have their equipment repurposed for family entertainment. Jessica watched the live feed from her office, unable to suppress her grin as she signed another stack of declassified gift shop receipts. The conversion of Imperial observation posts into tourist attractions had been her most brilliant move yet, simultaneously revealing the Empire's surveillance, while making them look ridiculous. "How are the sales figures?" she asked Ryan, who was monitoring the gift shop's performance on what appeared to be a rebuilt Game Boy Color. "The ice surveilled Earth, and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. Shirts are our top seller," he reported. "And the kids love the make-your-own quantum detector kits we made from recycled Imperial sensors." On the tour, Sarah was leading her group to the first hole of the mini-golf course. "This," she explained, gesturing to what had once been a quantum probability analyzer, was supposed to predict Earth's technological development. Now it predicts your putting trajectory. Much more useful, wouldn't you say? The tourists laughed, lining up to take their shots through what had formerly been a classified Imperial security checkpoint. "Dr. Brooks." Thor's increasingly familiar panic-filled voice erupted from her computer. "This is an outrage. That's classified technology you're using as a windmill obstacle on hole 7. Jessica supplied helpfully. "Don't worry, we kept all the important parts. Though I have to say, your quantum probability matrices make excellent putting greens. The Empire demands." "Oh, hold that thought," Jessica interrupted, checking her tablet. "The gift shop just got a special order. Apparently, someone from the Imperial Palace wants 50 my quantum sensors got turned into mini-golf snow globes. Should I put those on your tab?" The silence from Thor's end was deafening. Meanwhile, Sarah had led her tour group to the facility's former central control room. "And here we have what used to be the Empire's most advanced neural interface system," she announced, gesturing to what now appeared to be an elaborate arcade setup, currently running a perfect emulation of Pac-Man. Turns out quantum computers are really good at generating random ghost patterns. Marcus poked his head into Jessica's office, grinning. "You're going to want to see this. The Imperial Intelligence Agency just tried to hack our gift shop website." "Let me guess," Jessica sighed, though she was smiling. "The site redirected them to Space Jam. Better. It signed them up for our monthly newsletter and gave them a 10% discount code. They've already used it to order 300 plush Clippy dolls." Back on the tour, Sarah was demonstrating how the facility's former quantum encryption system now operated the bumper cars. "Notice how smoothly they avoid collisions. That's thanks to the same technology that was supposed to keep Earth from detecting Imperial communications. We found it works much better for family entertainment." The gift shop's door chime rang as another group of tourists entered. Jessica checked the security feed and nearly choked on her coffee. There, trying to be inconspicuous in a "I don't believe in aliens" They believe in me. Baseball cap was what appeared to be the Imperial Chief of Intelligence. Should we tell him the baseball cap he's buying was made from recycled Imperial stealth fabric? Ryan asked. Jessica watched as the Imperial spy chief added a my species invaded Earth, and all they found was this gift shop mud to his shopping basket. Nah, let him figure it out when it keeps disappearing from his office. As the sun set over Area 51.5, the former Imperial listening post twinkled with arcade lights and the sound of happy tourists. Somewhere in the distance, a quantum sensor that once monitored Earth's military movements now played a perfect game of whack-a-mole and honestly seemed happier for it. Sometimes, Jessica thought, watching another Imperial official sneaking into the gift shop in disguise, the best way to deal with superior alien technology was to simply give it a better job. And that's how a mechanical alarm clock can outperform a quantum temporal sensor. Dr. Jessica Brooks concluded her Galactic TED talk, holding up both devices. The Imperial quantum sensor was still trying to calibrate itself, while the old-fashioned alarm clock cheerfully displayed the correct time. Any questions? The amphitheater, packed with representatives from over 300 alien species, erupted with raised appendages. In the back, several Imperial scientists were frantically taking notes while trying to look like they weren't. Dr. Brooks, a tentacle being waved enthusiastically. Is it true that your primitive toasters are more reliable than our quantum food synthesizers? Absolutely, Jessica grinned, pulling out what looked like a standard Earth toaster. This modified 1985 model can not only make perfect toast, but can also decode Imperial transmissions and, in a pinch, serve as a short-range teleporter. Though I'll admit, the teleported toast does come out a bit crunchier than usual. Back at NASA, Ryan monitored the Galactic response to Jessica's presentation on his wall of vintage television sets. The Empire's stock is dropping faster than Windows Vista's popularity, he reported to Sarah, and we're getting orders for Earth technology from 17 different sectors, including 6 orders from the Imperial Palace. Sarah added, checking her Nintendo DS, now modified to track galactic commerce. They're trying to disguise them as agricultural research equipment, but nobody orders that many toasters for research. The presentation had moved to the queue and a session, and a nervous-looking Imperial scientist had worked up the courage to raise his hand. But our quantum technology is perfect. How can obsolete Earth devices possibly perform better? Jessica loaded up a PowerPoint presentation, running on Windows 98, naturally, and clicked through several slides. Perfect is the enemy of good, she explained. While you were pursuing quantum perfection, we were pursuing quantum good enough. Your systems need absolute zero temperatures and perfect conditions. Ours just need 2 AA batteries and an occasional whack on the side. She demonstrated by giving the toaster a light tap, causing it to not only produce perfectly browned toast, but also display a real-time map of Imperial fleet movements. Plus, she added, butter knife pointing to a particularly complicated quantum diagram. Our technology has something yours doesn't. Character. In the Imperial Palace, the Emperor watched the broadcast with growing horror as Earth's primitive technology was revealed to be anything but. His personal quantum communicator lay disassembled on his desk, next to a recently purchased Earth-made flip phone that irritatingly worked better. Your Majesty, his chief scientist ventured carefully, perhaps we should consider learning from them. The Emperor's response was cut short by his quantum food synthesizer producing yet another failed attempt at toast. The Earth toaster on his desk, meanwhile, pinged cheerfully as it produced a perfect golden brown slice, while simultaneously updating him on his Empire's deteriorating economic situation. Back at the presentation, Jessica was demonstrating how a modified Walkman could outperform quantum encryption. The beauty of analog technology, she explained while the device played both Queen's Another One Bites the Dust and decoded Imperial military orders, is that it embraces imperfection. Quantum computing tries to eliminate noise. We learn to use it. In the audience, Thor watched with a mixture of horror and fascination as his own secure communicator began playing Bohemian Rhapsody. The future isn't about having the most advanced technology, Jessica continued, now hooking up what appeared to be an original Nintendo Entertainment System to the quantum projection system. It's about having the most practical technology. Watch as this modified NES not only plays Super Mario Bros., but also calculates faster than light travel trajectories. And unlike your quantum computers, it works even if someone bumps the cartridge. As if on cue, every quantum device in the Imperial Palace hiccuped simultaneously. The Earth technology, meanwhile, continued functioning perfectly, including the toaster, which had just finished calculating a more efficient route for Imperial trade ships while producing another perfect piece of toast. Sometimes, Jessica thought as she watched understanding dawn across the faces of her galactic audience, the best way forward was to take a careful step backward. Besides, she mused, watching several Imperial scientists unsuccessfully trying to hide their newly purchased Earth electronics, who didn't love a good piece of toast. The Imperial Declaration of Earth's status as a forbidden zone was broadcast across all quantum channels, though curiously, it was best received on Earth's old analog TV sets. Dr. Jessica Brooks watched the announcement while eating perfectly toasted bread from her combination toaster/quantum decoder. By imperial decree, the Emperor proclaimed, trying to maintain his dignity despite his quantum throne's obvious technical difficulties. Earth is hereby declared too primitive for meaningful interaction. All imperial citizens are forbidden from. He paused as his throne's holographic display flickered and started playing Pong. Should we tell him we can see his Earth-made flip phone on his desk? Ryan asked, monitoring the broadcast through what appeared to be a rewired Tamagotchi. Let him keep his dignity, Jessica smiled. Besides, he's ordered 3 more through our gift shop's discreet shipping option. The Interstellar Institute of Hybrid Technologies was officially opening today, housed in what had once been the Empire's main Earth observation center. Sarah had outdone herself with the decoration, combining sleek quantum displays with deliberately vintage Earth technology. The effect was somewhere between NASA control room and retro arcade. First class is arriving, Marcus announced, watching through security cameras tied into an original Game Boy camera. Looks like we got representatives from 30 species, including, he grinned, 7 definitely not Imperial scientists in poor disguises. Jessica checked her modified Casio calculator watch, which now tracked both Earth time and quantum probability fluctuations. Right on schedule. Sarah, how's the demonstration setup looking? Perfect, Sarah replied from her station, where she was adjusting what appeared to be a Commodore 64 connected to a quantum core. Today's lesson: why sometimes a paperclip works better than a quantum spanner. I've got Clippy ready to co-teach. The Forbidden Zone designation had worked exactly as Jessica had predicted. Nothing made advanced technology more appealing than telling people they couldn't have it. Earth's exports of primitive technology had tripled overnight, particularly to the Empire, though always through increasingly elaborate chains of shell companies, and definitely not Imperial intermediaries. Latest intelligence report, Ryan called out, reading from his modified speak and spell. Imperial scientists are still trying to figure out how our toasters achieve quantum entanglement. They're up to test model 437 and still haven't realized it's not the technology that matters. It's the way we use it. Thor's transmission came in right on cue, now routed through what he thought was a secure channel, but was actually being received by Jessica's coffee maker. Dr. Brooks, this is outrageous. You're making a mockery of advanced technology. No, Jessica corrected, watching as her first class of students filed in, their eyes wide at the sight of Earth technology casually outperforming their quantum devices. We're making it better. By the way, how's that Earth-made microwave working out? The one you smuggled in last week. The silence was telling. That's what I thought, she smiled. You know, we're offering a class on microwave maintenance next week. You're definitely not Imperial scientists are welcome to attend. We'll even throw in a free toaster. As the Empire's declaration continued to play across the quantum networks and somehow on Earth's cable access channels, Jessica prepared to teach her first class. The lecture hall was a perfect blend of old and new. Quantum holographic displays powered by Atari processors, faster-than-light calculations run through modified Texas Instruments calculators, and a single, normal-looking toaster that somehow coordinated it all. "Welcome to Hybrid Technologies 101, she announced to her eager students. "Today, we're going to learn why advanced doesn't always mean better, and why sometimes the best solution is the one that's been working all along." In the back of the room, an Imperial scientist tried to take notes discreetly on his quantum pad, failed, and finally pulled out an Earth-made notebook and pencil. Jessica pretended not to notice. After all, she thought, watching as her coffee maker decoded another secret Imperial transmission, mostly orders for more Earth technology. Sometimes the best way to advance was to embrace what others considered obsolete. Besides, she mused as her toaster produced another perfect slice, while calculating quantum trajectories. Who didn't love a good piece of toast?